What's up, everybody? Tonight, we are discussing current trending NBA topics found recently on the internet and polls from interesting questions of votes that people have voted on YouTube. Welcome to Nate's Basketball Analysis.
I'm David.
I'm Nate. Let's jump right in. Okay, David. Go ahead first with the topic that wasn't voted on. I know you had mentioned you wanted to discuss something specifically. What is that topic?
So through now, Giannis has always been very adamant that he wants to spend his career with the Bucks, but a recent news articles seem to throw questions on that. I know the last time he was in free agency, there were rumors about him potentially going to Miami, but I don't think any of those were really serious. But it seems like now he's essentially saying, like, Milwaukee needs to build a good team around me, or I'm going to go somewhere else to find a team that's going to build around me. And I found that interesting because it's a really different attitude from what he's had in the past.
Very true, man. So I guess my question for you on that is, do you think he's sticking around, or do you think he's going to leave in free agency? I think he's got, one more year on his contract?
I think so. Is he going to leave or stay? I think there's potential for him to leave. There's a lot of the Bucks players at this point. They're kind of aging. He wants, if I were him, I'd probably want to play, with a core that's young but experienced, and maybe it would be beneficial for him to leave. Although the teams that I've seen most likely to get him, I'm just not sure that they either don't have experience or they're not quite as young as I would expect them to go for.
Absolutely. Before you talk about the teams that you think he might go to, let's first discuss the Bucks. They've got one first-round pick in the next few years to gamble with. That's about it. And they've pretty well maxed out their contracts. They did re-sign Brook Lopez and Chris Middleton in the offseason. There is rumors, and I don't know how true this is, but Drew Holiday said that after this next season, after his current contract is up, that he's going to retire and spend time with his family. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. That takes out one of their key pieces from their championship run. Other than that, I don't feel like they've done much, and they're not going to be able to sign a free agent. One, they're not that big of a market. Yes, bigger than some. But two, they don't really have the cap space to sign anyone. So, my personal thoughts, the Bucks organization isn't going to be able to do much, for Giannis. And it would probably be good for them to free up some space. I think they're a contender again this year. Do I think that they'll win the championship? I don't know. I think this is probably the last opportunity that they're going to have to go at it before things fall apart. So, after Giannis's contract, it would be interesting to see where he goes. I know he also, like you said, wants to spend his time with one team, but I don't know. Where makes sense? Where do you think he would go if he does leave?
I mentioned that a lot of the places I've seen, they're either too young or they're young but they're inexperienced. One place I saw was Chicago. I don't buy that one.
You don't?
That's the one that has caught my eye the most. I don't think I buy that one. I mean,
they wouldn't be able to fit all that money in there, though. They'd have to lose DeRozan or Zach LaVine.
Right.
I don't know, man.
And there have already been a lot of rumors about Zach LaVine leaving the Bulls. I don't know that core will be there for very long.
Most of those rumors say that he'll end up on the Lakers, though, which is so funny because any trade talk and it's like, the Lakers are involved. Anyways, keep going. Is there a West Coast team that you would pick? Because my East Coast team was the Bulls also. That was one that I saw and I thought that would be very interesting. So the Bulls, and then I've also seen, and I don't want to say it before you say it, who in the West Coast do you think he would fit well with?
Yeah, I've seen the Lakers there.
No, I didn't see the Lakers.
Wait.
I was thinking Golden State.
Golden State?
Because if you pair Steph and Giannis together, you've got some difficult defending to do. Can you imagine Giannis on that team, man?
Yeah, no, that would bring back the Warriors dynasty that I said was over.
Yes.
Pretty quickly.
Okay, I've got two for you here. So in a vote of 35,000 people from the West Coast teams, there are three that have a chance to surprise people this year and win a title, perhaps. Between these three teams, who do you think would be able to do it? There's the Grizzlies, the Pelicans, and the T-Wolves.
Probably the Grizzlies.
Yeah. I think that one's a given. That one's not as fun to me as the East Coast. So I'll bring up the East Coast right now. And this one only had 27.
So is that who won the poll?
So I'll put the poll up on the screen when I do my editing. But the Grizzlies did win the poll, and I think it was a significant percentage. I think it was 64%. Which I actually didn't write down the percentages for those. I did for the East Coast teams, though. And the East Coast teams are, same question, but it was only 27,000 votes for these, between Cleveland, New York Knicks, and the Toronto Raptors. Who do you think would be able to surprise everyone and make a playoff run for a title this year?
That's a good question. I guess I have to go with the Knicks.
That's who I picked. That is who I picked.
Wow.
And it was 25% for the Knicks, which was a surprise. The Raptors, I don't think that they would be able to pull off anything, honestly. But it was interesting that they were in there. 6%. And Cleveland had 68% of the majority there. So, very interesting.
I like Cleveland. I like Donovan Mitchell, I guess.
I would love to see him win a championship. Do I think they're there? No. I don't even know if it's a couple years down the road. Donovan's improving. Evan Mobley is improving. He's still young. If they could hold it all together, I mean, Darius Garland is a good player for their team. Yeah, man. I think Cleveland could be good. It was very interesting, though. That's why I picked the Knicks over Cleveland, actually, was because Jalen Brunson has taken such big steps in his career to be as successful as he has. And the Knicks have also been thrown out as a team that could potentially have the assets to get Joel Embiid if he ever demands a trade. So,
yeah, that's probably right.
That's an interesting topic. Okay, moving on to the next one. All in their prime, who would win a 2-on-2 matchup between Carmelo Anthony and Allen Iverson versus Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving? Who would you pick?
I would go... Probably Kevin Durant and Kyrie.
Okay, why?
I think Allen Iverson was better than Kyrie, but I think that he's too small. Um, he's just on it, and he's very good with the ball and stuff. But he would take a lot of really dumb shots. Um, Whereas Kyrie takes the dumb shots, but I think he was more consistent. And if you ask me, do you want Melo or Kevin Durant at their primes, I would take Durant any day of the week.
That's interesting, man, because I put Allen Iverson a little bit above Kyrie, and I put Kevin Durant just a little bit above Carmelo Anthony. And I think people think of Carmelo Anthony, how he was in the last few years of his career, not as good as he was when he was prime Melo. So I actually picked Melo and AI, and there were 88,000 votes on this. 67% said KD and Kyrie, over 33% for Melo and AI. So I did not fall with the majority there.
I think there is probably recency bias in that poll. Because, like when you and I were growing up, Carmelo and Allen Iverson were big players, but I think last decade KD and Kyrie were big players. But I still think KD was better than Carmelo, and I still think, man, I don't know. I still think AI. I think AI is better than Kyrie.
This is bad. I should probably know this, but is Kevin Durant in the top 10 for scoring all time? Because Carmelo is. I want to say he's number 10.
I'm not sure. I do know that Kevin Durant has a ton of scoring titles.
It's interesting. I'll have to look that up and put something up on the screen also.
Kevin Durant is
14th. So potentially could surpass Melo. Yeah, and maybe that would cement it. I just think people forget how good Carmelo Anthony really was. So I don't know, man. Sixes could go either way. Okay, here's another one that's similar to that. It's a one-on-one instead, and I haven't told you these names ahead of time. In a one-on-one matchup between Kawhi Leonard and Giannis Antetokounmpo, who wins? I'll first tell you before you pick, there were 150,000 votes on this one.
Kawhi.
You pick Kawhi. Okay. I don't know who I would pick. I don't have an opinion on this one. Kawhi's got great defense. Giannis took the poll 73% to 27%. Which amazes me, honestly. Right? I think maybe people are, against Kawhi again just because he's been out. And they forgot how good Kawhi Leonard is.
Well, yeah, and Kawhi has range, and he can guard at any position. He's got the longest wingspan, one of the longest wingspans I've ever seen.
See, I kind of agree with that, but I also think Giannis could just throw it down,
Yeah.
Maybe muscle him out of the way.
Yeah.
I don't know, because Kawhi's got great defense. Maybe he would steal it from him, and you're right, he does have 3-point range. So that was an interesting one to me, especially to see that Giannis had 73% majority. So, anyways, okay, moving on. Next one. Greatest defender in NBA history, Centers Edition.
Okay.
You got 4 picks to choose from here. There were 149,000 votes on this. There is Bill Russell, Dikembe Mutombo, Rudy Gobert, and Hakeem Olajuwon. Who would you pick between those 4?
I picked Mutombo.
Okay. I would also pick Mutombo.
Yeah, you want to do that thing?
Surprisingly, he came in third on this. Any guesses who came in last? Gobert did come in last with 3%. Then you get Dikembe Mutombo, who has 14%. Bill Russell with 21%. And Hakeem Olajuwon took the cake with 61% majority. So, that was... Man, a lot of these polls are surprising, actually, when I take them. But very interesting.
Yeah.
So, didn't discuss this one with you ahead of the podcast, but I have another one. Is Luka the greatest Mav of all time if he wins an NBA championship this year with the current team as constructed? Does he top Dirk Nowitzki?
No.
Okay. Reasons why?
I think Dirk was there his entire career.
What if Luka stays?
Then maybe we have the conversation.
Okay. Luka's broken some records while he's been there, which is interesting. Has not won a championship yet, but Dirk only had one. Dirk is number 6 on the all-time scoring list, if I'm not mistaken, which is really cool. And then there's just the nostalgia of Dirk. So, I don't know what it would take. I saw somebody put this on Facebook, and I ran with it. I was like, this is a fabulous question. I said, currently no. If Luka stays with the Mavs throughout his entire career, and he's only won that one championship, and it is this year, then yes, he would still go down as the greatest Mav of all time. So, not quite there yet.
And that's a difficult hypothetical considering they didn't even make the playoffs last year.
Yeah, and I also called that. And Ryan thought I was crazy that I had picked the Mavs to be outside the playoffs, which I thought maybe it was kind of crazy too. But sometimes crazy things happen, man.
Yeah, man. We need people. We need people to dream like that.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, I have one final topic to discuss, and this comes from Basketball Forever. They did a bracket, a GOAT bracket, for every position, every player, all time. And came up with the greatest point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and center of all time. Your thoughts on Steph Curry as the greatest point guard of all time, Michael Jordan as the greatest shooting guard, which I think that's unanimous, LeBron James as the best small forward of all time, Tim Duncan as the greatest power forward. I have a different opinion on that one. And Shaquille O'Neal as the greatest center of all time. Do you agree?
I think I probably take the biggest issue with Steph.
Okay. Is Magic your GOAT point guard?
Magic is Magic, and also John Stockton.
Yes! Finally, someone's given Stockton some credit. Thank you for saying that. I agree completely. Steph is, Steph's a winner. He's very good. But so is Magic Johnson. But some of the stuff that John Stockton did is like insane. Like, I think he's the all-time leader in both Steals and assists.
steals and assists, which is, I mean, that's what a point guard is supposed to do, essentially.
And he was a good playmaker. He was a threat. He was a threat at the basket. I mean, he may not be up there in numbers, but
I think Steph is great. I don't really like. I don't really have. It's not. It's not for me. It's not terrible to say that he's the greatest. I just don't necessarily. I don't know. I think there's really, really strong recency bias here. Steph is still playing. Everybody watched Steph in the past.
Steph changed the
2
game.
years, kind of dominate the game.
Yeah.
Again, John Stockton. I don't think that his record will be broken. And in Magic, I mean, Magic was interesting because he played like a point guard, but he had the body of like a small forward essentially.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest issue I have with Steph is that he isn't really. I mean, he's a point guard who mostly plays as a shooting guard essentially. He's looking to score every time. Whereas that's not really what the position is made for. Not
That's
to
a
say
good
that
point.
It's wrong that he played it that way.
Yeah.
But I like John Stockton. I like Magic.
That's just his position, though. I mean, he brings up the ball, and he's such a threat that he has so much exposure on him that opens up the floor for playmaking. So that's what makes it interesting. And then also, we'll say that Magic played with the GOAT of his era, whereas Steph played against LeBron this entire time, and yet he's been able to win championships. And then I'll also add, I wish that championships did not play a part in any of this bias that people put out there, because it really disrespects how good John Stockton really was. And you say you don't think that'll be broken? I don't think it'll ever be broken, man. You look at the numbers that he had to average each season for 19. Did he play 18 or 19 seasons? I'm pretty sure it was 18. 18 seasons. And man, I saw a statistic that said you'd have to average this many assists a game in order to even pass John Stockton. It's just not feasible. So it's amazing what him and Malone did. It's sad that they never won a championship against the real GOAT. So that's my thoughts there, man.
And then obviously Michael Jordan. I can't dispute that. LeBron, LeBron is probably the best small forward ever.
While we're on this topic, I'm curious for our viewers to write in the comments, would you like a GOAT debate between David and I? The only problem is, I'm MJ, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, David, you are as well, right?
Yeah. Look, man, LeBron, I don't know. I just, I think he's great, and I think he's been great post Jordan, but Jordan was still better.
Agreed.
There are obviously statistics where LeBron was better, but I think overall Jordan's mentality was just kind of crazy. He just knew how to win, and he was a killer.
Absolutely.
That's what he was. Then Tim Duncan. Yeah, I think I can go with Tim Duncan. I know you're probably gonna argue it's Karl Malone.
I wasn't gonna argue it. I am kind of biased being in Utah. I love Karl Malone, and I think he's a great power forward. Do I think he's the greatest of all time? Probably not. I'm just sad that it plays so much into bias again. Of Timmy won 5 championships, and so that makes him the greatest power forward of all time, right? They don't nearly look at the scoring that was in effect. I mean, Malone is number 3 on the all-time scoring list right now.
Sure.
So, and he was number 2 for a long time. He would have passed Kareem had he not gotten injured. So.
Yeah.
Anyways. Okay, so yeah, we even got off topic a little bit there. I'm glad you brought it back. We agree on MJ. We agree that LeBron is probably the greatest small forward of all time. Steph was up in the air. We discussed Tim versus Carl. And there's other respective power forwards there. And then Shaq. Do you think he is the most dominant, the greatest center ever?
Yeah. I mean, they had to change the game for him. Because he was so, like, essentially, if he got the ball into the basket, he was going to score every freaking time. Which, yeah, I mean, I think there might be an argument for Bill Russell and for Wilt Chamberlain, but the truth is, I think that's too far back for us to really know. I think there could be an argument for Kareem, for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah,
also,
absolutely.
Shaq was ridiculous, though.
He really was.
Like, I mean, yeah, he got played to be big. He got paid to be just big and just stand under the basket.
And he just destroyed everybody, man. There was no holding him back. It's a shame that Malone didn't win a championship with the Lakers the one year that he went there before retiring.
Yeah.
Those bad boy Pistons, man. I guess they weren't the bad boy Pistons, but the Pistons. 2001, I believe.
Well, it was 2004.
4. Accurate. That's my bad.
Yeah.
The Lakers did win in 2001, is what it was. Yeah.
That Pistons team got so lucky that the Lakers fell apart, because that Pistons team, I know they won, but they like, I don't know. None of those guys was really that good. Maybe Tayshaun Prince and Chauncey.
Ben Wallace, man, he was so good. I'm just surprised he outplayed Shaq.
I don't actually think he did, though. I think I think Shaq outplayed him. I just think Ben Wallace won.
The playmakers around him made it happen.
Yeah.
I got you. Well, anything else you'd like to bring up or discuss before we conclude?
No, I think these were good topics. This was a fun one.
Heck yeah, man.
Thanks everyone for watching. For all things NBA and to stay up to date, hit the subscribe button and follow along. See ya.
See ya.